Welcome, everybody, to the Mansfield Buzz. All right, everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. It is Thursday, Britnie, already February 13th, 2025. This is show number 44 from the Mansfield Buzz. And guys, we are so glad to have you. You will notice that two hosts for our show, one's missing today. Jordan Huff usually hosts with me. My name's Hardy Burke. Jordan is on a mini vacation with his family, and we'll be back next week. And I'm sure that if he happens to be grabbing this at some point, maybe on his phone, he'll probably say a comment or something like that. But hey, guys, so if you would do this, do me a favor, tell 5 friends to go over to youtube.com, and our handle is at Mansfield TX Buzz. Go hit that subscribe button and do me one more favor. Right under this video on YouTube is a little thumbs up. Looks just like this. If you like that, that helps our algorithm with YouTube and also lets people know that the content's relevant. People are really liking it. And if you are with us today on, please go and like. Let me put this up there. Hello, chat. Comments and questions are welcome. You can chat. We'll interrupt the show. So please ask questions if you feel led to, but we definitely need you to hit the like button up there and make sure you're with us. Most of our people, Britnie, just to be upfront with you, like the on-demand because they're usually at work and they like to come in and watch it as an on-demand, and that's when the numbers really crank up. But we have a few fly people like to chat and stay on with us. So guys, make sure you do that. Also, we are booked all the way through April of 2025. We're now looking for May on. If you want to be on a live show, there is my email, hurdy@hurdyburke.com. Feel free to drop in the subject line. I want to be on your fantastic Phantasmo show on the Buzz. Please hit me up, okay? So next thing I want to talk about is our sponsors. They're exclusive with us, libertytaxdefenders.com, and we're going to start our icebreaker section. I'm going to read a little bit from Liberty Tax Defenders, and then we're going to do some icebreakers with our guest, Britnie. And by the way, Britnie Hamic is with Netchex, and she is going to be diving into her business today, which we're real excited. So we will be right back after these icebreakers. All right, guys, Liberty Tax Defenders is our, what we call our exclusive sponsor. They were one of our first guests on our show, probably the third show. They jumped on and they immediately got a very, very good client out of this and said, you know what, we would love to just be the exclusive sponsor of this. Just let us help you with the back end and let's just help you with a little few dollars, to get you jump started and get going. So let me read about them. Then we'll show you a short video from them, and then we'll jump into our guest, Britnie. So we are Liberty Tax Defenders, your premier tax resolution firm. We work every day to help hardworking Americans keep more of their money out of the hands of overzealous bureaucrats. We help our clients solve problems with back taxes, unfiled tax returns, payroll, and trust fund issues. We also negotiate payment plans and offers in compromise that are favorable to our clients, as well as represent clients who are under audit before the IRS. In addition, we help clients navigate tax issues such as employee retention credit, as well as providing CFO, consulting, tax preparation, and accounting services. We have successfully helped our clients save over, and by the way, I need to change that number, it's $2 million, and assess taxes and penalties. If you find yourself under audit owing back taxes, please do not hesitate to call us, 817-995-5008, and visit our website, www.libertytaxdefenders.com. And guys, really quickly, I want to play a little 1-minute video from them. And you also will notice that the guy talking in Texas uniform is also the mayor of Kennedale here in Texas, right up the road from Mansfield. So we'll play this and be right back.
I just found out I got a nasty letter in the mail saying I'm under audit. What do I do? You don't have to agree with what they find. Have we seen that they can make mistakes? Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I think $1.2 million that we've saved our clients can show that they're not always right. So many people go at it alone. They just want to get it over with. They'll submit to an interview. They'll submit to letting the IRS come out. And that's the worst thing you can possibly do. You need to get somebody that can defend you, prevent you from talking to the IRS, prevent them from camping out at your place of business. They are taking the most extreme position. They are protecting the government's interests, not yours. Verify that that's correct. And then you have appellate rights. You don't have to just agree to their finding. You can appeal it. The appeals division of the IRS is an option for remediation that's available to taxpayers. It is quasi-independent. So you don't have such hardcore believers in the IRS mission working with appeals. They're reasonable. They always consider the hazards of litigation, and they're willing to negotiate, willing to knock off penalties oftentimes, willing to accept, you know what, this position is extreme. So when you're under audit, get help. Don't go at it alone.
All right. So thank you, Liberty Tax Defenders. These are great guys. If you ever get to their website and read their bios, you will find out that they are masters in tax. They actually have degrees in something I could never sit at for 2 minutes. It's not my MO. But we have some other icebreakers. Let me welcome our guest. It's Britnie Hamic with Netchex and Netchex and checks. And you know, the cool thing is, I've met her at the Mansfield Network group. She wanted to jump on the show, but I asked her to send me some cool stuff for icebreakers. And let's just jump into this because I'm kind of anxious. I think people are going to enjoy this. So let's do the first one. So you literally sent me an icebreaker and you said, I can do a mean Jennifer Coolidge impression. Why don't you first tell us who Jennifer Coolidge is to remind her what some of the shows that you've seen her on, right? And then, are you going to try it?
Of course I'm going to try it.
Okay, cool.
So obviously, you know, if y'all have seen Legally Blonde, Jennifer Coolidge is that awesome nail tech that gets Reese Witherspoon up and going again, makes her happy. You know, they become friends. But yeah, that is that. If you don't know, also she's in, was it White Lotus?
Yeah.
She's in that movie as well. She's in a bunch of other movies, but if you're my age, you know, Legally Blonde was the movie to watch on replay when you're with your friends. It was funny, whatever the case may be. And honestly, it stuck with me.
So let's hear that impression.
Goodness. Let me just clear my throat real quick.
You're fine. Take your time.
You put on the spot, you get a little nervous. Wow. You look like the 4th of July. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. I'm taking the dog, dumbass.
I love it.
So yes, and I will say that it's a good party trick. You know, it's always fun. It makes my son laugh. So that's all that
matters. I think that's awesome. Now, another icebreaker, and this is something that really, because of the place, the Carnegie Hall in New York being as famous as it is, Britnie, you know, what did you do at age 15? What did you perform in some play or something?
So not a play, but I went to a private school for a few years in high school called Grapevine Faith. And I was a part of their all-state choir program.
Gotcha.
And so every year or so we would try out, go to state, and they would select a bunch of schools and their choirs to come together and do a huge a huge performance at Carnegie Hall in New York.
Sure.
And it was a big, big deal. It wasn't just one school. It was over, I think, almost, I want to say like 200 kids, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Maybe a little less, but we were all dressed in black dresses and suits, and of course, suits and ties for the gentlemen.
Sure.
and we literally came to New York for a week, and we practiced for a few days. We did the performance, and then we had a couple extra days to kind of see the city, and then we all got on a plane and went home. So it was an amazing experience. Definitely something that was super fun. And of course, at 15, never going and ever visiting the Big Apple, always wanted to.
That's got to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, although I was pickpocketed, that did happen.
Oh, that's not good.
It was it, but as a 15-year-old with $700 in their purse, probably not a good idea. So
no, probably not.
Do not carry all of your cash or spending money on the trip. Keep it in the hotel. Lock it in the safe.
Put it in the safe in the lobby, whatever you got to do, right?
Do something, but it definitely was something that was very unique and very cool. And I can't wait to go back to New York again.
That's awesome. All right. So let's dive into some of your questions. And the first one is, giving us kind of a brief history of Netchex and how it's evolved. But before we jump into that, kind of give us a little background on your history, which led you down this path, because I'm sure there's a story behind this, correct?
Absolutely. So Herdy, I have been one who was given the gift of gab from a very young age. I was told short stories, Britnie, short stories. However, I started in sales as a Girl Scout. I was selling Girl Scout cookies. I was that person that would knock on your door and say, "You mean you want to buy 5 boxes, not just
good training ground."
Exactly. But from a young age, always been in sales, loved to meet people, really found a passion for helping people. And I have been in sales in all different industries, from the retail industry to the restaurant industry, to even real estate for a little bit. I really found my passion when it came to the payroll HR side of things, but it was only through the tech sale industry that I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, it was a whole different side that I never really got to experience. But long story short, I started a company called APS Payroll. There, I started as a BDR, and I worked my way to an account executive. Had my own territory, was calling, putting on, but I wanted something that was a little bit more of a challenge. I wanted something that would push me to not just one, of course, money is always important, but I wanted something that was going to further my career options in the future. I mean, I love sales. I love being an account executive, but I mean, Herdy, I see myself being in a leadership role someday. So I wanted that I could get into that.
Sure.
And then enters Netchex. I was offered a great opportunity and I jumped at it. I've been in the payroll industry for about 4 to 5 years now, and I'm loving it. Something really unique that I found about Netchex was a lot of the account executives that I work with and a lot of the sales team and department that I work with, they all have similar goals, meaning, and passions basically, is they want to help organizations. They want to help make people's lives easier, not just the organization's lives.
Sure.
So, with Netchex, something really cool and unique about them is they've been around for almost about 30 years. They're based in Covington, Louisiana, about 45 minutes outside of New Orleans. So always a good time. Every time you go, it's always a good time.
Yeah, I bet.
But they started off as just a payroll and tax, company. They started off as a base. That's where they wanted to. But then when they saw the need for other HR modules and time and attendance, they wanted to build something that was in-house, truly a fully single source solution. Sure. So that's really where the goal was to combine an innovative technology with the best customer service all around. And that's how Netchex became to what Netchex is today.
Yeah. And so I know that this is I'm going to say, I know it's a competitive field, right? Let's face it, but everybody does things a little bit different. So I guess what sets you guys apart, on the payroll side, on the HR software solution side, in today's what I call fast-paced market, right? Mm-hmm. And convincing these businesses to get that out of their hands, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. So what really sets Netchex apart is, one, other than the awesome, innovative technology and the user-friendly technology,
sure,
and the customer service, of course, is, everyone says, well, we have great technology and great customer service.
Yeah.
But with Netchex is we really like to focus on the organization itself, because we know that we may not be a good fit for everybody. But when we think there's an opportunity to help someone get time back in their day, you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to go in and fully do a real assessment. Because at the end of the day, we want to help organizations that have a lean HR team take on the challenges like high turnover rates, outdated processes, but also managing a deskless workforce. And that's really where we are at in this world post-COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone is a hybrid or fully remote. And for those who do go back in the office on a day-to-day, that's great. But I bet you anything, there is a handful of employees or coworkers that they work with that stay home, and they might be a different state. So that's really where we can make a difference, is we focus on organizations that are going through those challenges. We never like to say we're a jack of all trades, only because we really want to bring in the tech and the customer service that will push everything outside and just make it easier for those HR teams and for the C-suites as well. When I guarantee, I always tell the story I always like to say is, it's Monday morning, you walk into the office or you log into your computer and you have a task list of 8 to 9 things to do. But at the end of an 8 to 9 hour day, I bet you anything, you've got 4 or 5 brand new tasks on top of that original task list.
Yeah, at least.
Exactly, at least. So, if you can ever sit there and say, yes, I walked into the office, logged in my computer, and I have that task and it's like never ending, that's where we come in, because we want to help delegate some of those processes that you have into a system that will save you time. So where you can actually focus on certain tasks that might need more of your one-on-one attention.
So Britnie, just to pop a little bit on that question. So generally when somebody calls you and they're trying to reach you because they're interested in sitting down with you, generally what do they confess to you is going on? What is the general pattern that you see from most companies when they're reaching out for this kind of help? What are they generally saying?
So the biggest one I hear is, I am so sick of not being able to get a hold of somebody on the phone to walk me through an issue.
Gotcha.
Or it's either like a customer service problem, or it could be, I am so sick of having to take and spend 3 to 4 hours on payroll and process payroll every day.
Right. Yeah.
Because in reality, payroll should not take that long at all.
No, but it's another task that has to be added to somebody who wants to be working in their business, not always on it, right? So,
exactly.
Or however that wording is. But there you go. All right. So that leads to this then. So the payroll and HR technology landscape keeps changing. Obviously, AI's come into play. There's a lot of things that are going to change what we do, tasking, even on your end, I'm pretty sure, in the last recent years. So how are you guys adapting right now?
Absolutely. So how we are adapting right now is, like I mentioned earlier, what sets us apart is our focus on where we can help organizations. How we are adapting is we're helping other businesses manage their workforce, whether that's employee engagement to obviously, which happy employees stay longer, which means higher retention rates, not lower. Not that higher, not high turnover rates, which I know right now, the job market, they're out there, but they are looking for the right person because they want them to stay. And finding then retaining that top talent is huge. But something that Netchex is doing and is adapting is we have AI within our solution. Not many payroll companies have that right now. That's still on their roadmap. And I'm not going to say all, but some don't. And with us, we have some features that have the AI capabilities in there to make someone in the HR department's life easier, but not just on the admin side, but the employee side as well. I mean, Purdy, I remember being real green within the corporate world of America and feeling so bad that I had to go and knock on HR's door and say, hey, can you remind me what our paid holidays are? Or hey, what's
How
the
does vacation work, or one of
exactly,
those?
exactly. I mean, so something, and I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. Something very unique is we have Ask HR, which is something super unique and super cool, which I love it. And I even use it on the day-to-day basis. I've been in the industry for a while. Yes, I ask some silly questions. But what the thing is a lot of HR, coordinators and admin and just people on the HR team in general get asked the same redundant questions several times a day, a couple times a week, a couple times a month, And so what happens is you get to upload all of your employee handbooks, your documents. You can even do some of your benefit documents as well, like your benefit plans, to where your employee can either access it through their phone, they can access it through their computer and say, hey, what are my, how do I put in for PTO, or how many hours do I get for PTO, right? Well, they'll pull up that information through those documents and answer your question right then and there. So that way that eliminates
Time.
calling exactly the time, and they get an answer right there. Now, of course, one thing I have been asked is, okay, well, what happens if I ask a question and Ask HR can't answer that question? Well, only then will we actually the system will notify someone on the HR team to reach out to you directly to answer that question.
Gotcha.
But once they get that answer, it'll get programmed into the system to where if someone else asks a similar question, there's an answer. So it just keeps it all rolling.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I've got a note-taking system behind the system so that it logs it so that if the question comes up again, it can be answered, which is part of this AI stuff. I'm pretty darn sure some of that coding is to pick that up. But the idea, so I can imagine, and this is just me guessing out loud, the time element that's saved by somebody, once they upload their handbooks, once they upload their benefits, their policies, whatever those things are they put in HR, they can access that portal and get those answers as an employee and not have to go knock on the HR's door. Well, that's a huge time saver and allows the real HR people to keep working on their policies and updating stuff. So huge. Exactly. That's just huge.
It's really huge. And also something that Netchex has adapted, or that we're continuing adapting, is we are always continuing to putting the money back into the system. A lot of the reds, the blues, the pays focus on the marketing aspect, the advertising aspect, which, you know what, is great. I'm not going to knock that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
But we are small enough to give you that one-on-one customer service, but we can also provide that cutting edge technology.
But smart enough to realize you need a real budget for exposure and advertising too. That's awesome.
Exactly. And the one thing that I like is, like, we really want our platform to have a lot of those self-service capabilities, because I don't know about you, Herdy, but I only reach out to customer service if I really am stuck and I can't figure it out.
Absolutely. And I would go further to say, in comparison, me being the age I am on Medicare and my supplemental insurance, how nice is it to me to go to my portals and be able to see claims, or be able to see, payment schedules, billing, rate increases. It's all there. I don't have to do anything but go log on. And I know it's very similar to what you guys do, which leads me to this. And that is, obviously there's key features that go with the Netchex businesses. So what are the most valuable ones that you see people wanting over and over and over?
So there's going to be two parts to this answer.
Perfect.
Is one, Netchex offers so many services that we will go, and once we have that one-on-one conversation with you, we will say, hey, from what you've told me, your best bet is going to be having, payroll, time attendance, HR, maybe some applicant tracking in there, learning management. But the unique thing is we're not going to sign you up for things that you aren't going to utilize. We want you to fully get an ROI of the solution. But just to name a few of the basics that we do offer: payroll, time attendance, HR. We do have our own benefit admin system. We also have a single sign-on with Employee Navigator. And I know we have a lot of benefit brokers out there who love Employee Navigator. So if you are a benefit broker, at the end of this, there's my email. Please reach out to me. We love partnering with y'all because we don't want to take your business.
Yeah.
We want to help keep your book of business and possibly refer other clients to you. And I know that's a huge deal, saving y'all's time as benefit brokers, but also the HR time as well. Also, something else that we love to do is we do have is performance management. Like I mentioned, Ask HR, that's a huge one. But also learning management too. We all know that onboarding it can be a pain in the tush if it's in a manual process. And I don't know about you, Hurdy, but every time I have to watch those videos, you're like, oh my goodness. And sometimes maybe, the videos aren't dedicated to the actual industry that the organization is.
Yeah.
Not with this, you can keep up with not just the basic training to get everyone up to date on their first start date, but also to keep everybody up in what's going on in the world, whether that's, personal career development. That's always huge, because then that goes back to employee engagement and employee retention as well.
Well, and you could probably help these companies that don't understand what they need. Show them you need to have this. You need to have a better policy book. You need to have compliance. You need to have policies, and kind of bring them up to speed legally where they need to be, right? Because as businesses grow, they forget to do things. I can honestly tell you that they just forget, or they get so busy, they say, we need to update this, and it's been sitting over here for 5 years and nobody's touched it and it's outdated. So you guys can probably look through stuff and say, hey, we need to talk about this. So that's the other valuable part of your service, I would imagine, correct?
It definitely is. Absolutely. And something else that I want to mention too is we also have the capabilities of getting, in the leader, especially with those who are in the leadership position, giving you real-time data and analytics that you need in order to make business decisions. Sure. So a lot of the time, a big challenge that I hear, especially from CFOs, even some COOs and CEOs, they're sitting there saying, okay, I don't know how to use this system because I don't know where I'm looking for to get this certain type of data that I need.
Sure.
Well, with ours, we have what it's called net insights, to where they can actually see certain data in a way that it tells a story. Because when you're looking at data, you're literally looking to answer a certain question.
Yeah, you are.
So having that opportunity there and being able to create your own reports, it just makes life easier. Because again, we're here to help save you time. If we can help save you some money, kudos to that. I'm gonna do everything I can.
Yeah, and I guess the next question that goes from the customer to your side of the fence is that we go through lots of changes and policies in the country 100%. For corporations and different businesses. So, you got new compliance regulatory changes, obviously, that happen all the time, and especially from state to state and industries. So how do you guys handle that?
Well, one thing that's very unique is obviously Netchex can handle everything in all 50 states. We can do all that fun stuff. So yay, state regulations and federal regulations. But that is one of the biggest challenges for businesses today. So Netchex has a dedicated compliance team that monitors and updates at a federal, state, and local tax level. So
wow, that's unbelievable.
But the thing is, that's what you're supposed to get, because we know no one likes to see an audit come through. No one likes to go, oh, I'm getting a slap with a lawsuit. Okay, I didn't realize this was a thing. That's where we come in. We want to keep you compliant on all levels that we possibly can, that at least are in the Netchex's realm, to keep y'all in compliance with.
Yeah, because businesses don't know what they don't know. Exactly. And especially if they're located in one state and there's a rule for another state, right, that they can or can't do something, or they need to improve something because of the regulations.
Yes.
That's, to me, would be huge for a business, because that takes that issue off the table, that they have to sit there with their attorneys with a bunch of people and hire them just to do that part of the job, which could be huge. So it saves them time and money a bunch, I imagine.
Absolutely. But if also, go back on that time aspect of it too, is again, HR's got enough. And if you are, example, an organization that has an HR department of 1, maybe 2 employees, and they're handling everything that HR has to handle, which is a long list of tasks to do on a day-to-day basis. And you have to go, I need to go and search for new law. Like that, you don't have enough time in the day. Like,
and you may not know where to look.
Exactly. So that's where we come in, because we want to help manage that compliance, make it easy and effortless for our organizations.
So guys, we're about halfway through these questions, and the thing that I want the people listening and the people who come back in and listen on demand is realize that this is a really legitimate turnkey situation for a business. And being a business owner myself since 2009, I will tell you that you're going to get to a point. I don't care when you start, but at some point you're going to go, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. And you're going to reach out to somebody like Britnie with Netchex and you're going to say, I need your help. Okay. So why not just start today? That's all I wanted to say on that. Okay. So,
well,
all right.
And I want to lead on that too, Herdy, is that's the truth. You can only,
it is.
but the thing is how many Band-Aids are you going to utilize until you finally come up with a solution that's long-term and something that can grow with you? That is where Netchex comes. We can either help you when you're a startup to mid-size organizations. We want to help make your life easier.
And these companies that we're talking about today, if they're listening, they get to deal with you, right?
Yes, they do.
So before I get the next question, let's answer that because I don't see it on here, and I want to make sure people know. You obviously DFW area, right? You live in this area, but what is your region? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
No, not at all. So I am a Fort Worth native. That's where I born and raised. Love it. But the really unique, cool thing about my territory is I get to go all the way outside, just outside of Denton and Louisville, up to Sanger, to all the Fort Worth. I get to go all the way down just outside of Waco, all the way to just outside of Wichita Falls, all the way up in all of Oklahoma.
All right.
Is my territory and region. And I'm so glad that you brought this up, Herdy, because I love being face-to-face with people. Like I mentioned earlier, I was given the gift of gab. So my thing is how I like to help and how I like to do business with organizations is I like to meet with you face-to-face if possible. And if I have anybody in Oklahoma saying, yeah, she's not going to come out to Oklahoma, I bet you money. I bet you a lunch. I will come out to Oklahoma just to have a conversation with you. I have no problem doing so. So that's how I like to do it is, and also I feel like that's a touch that we've lost since COVID. Everything's been over Zoom, over phone. No one likes to go and meet in person anymore. Nah, that's not me. I like to put a face to the name, and I like to shake your hand, look you in the eye, and give you a true conversation that I think is owed to all of my customers that come.
And you know what? I think you're in one particular business where that's important because you are establishing a relationship. If you're taking over somebody's payroll, you're taking over their policies, their regulations, the things, their HR, so that becomes a big deal to have that relationship. And by the way, this is who you get to deal with right here, just so you know.
Okay. And again, you get to do business with people who you like and trust. And
that's right. Absolutely.
That's the best way to do it.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on. So I'm going to ask for a real world example, as usual, and a company that transformed its HR. And I imagine this is going to be a story from you, right? And so can you tell us a little bit about that example?
Absolutely. So if I can, I'd like to do two examples because
absolutely. Please do.
We like companies of all shapes and sizes. So I'm going to start with one that we are very well known for. And I don't know if you'll know this, but whenever you go and get those awesome cherry limeades from Sonic.
Yes.
We actually do their payroll and their time attendance. They are one of our biggest clients, and we love them because we were truly able to transform the challenges that they were going through. And what those challenges was obviously they were a multi-location restaurant group, so I guarantee you go into one city, there's always a Sonic.
Or two. Yeah.
Or three in my case. I swear there's like three.
I know, they're every block. Right.
But they were struggling with just processing payroll and being able to track time across all the states that they're in and all the local cities and things. So what we were able to do is we were able to go automate their payroll processing and also automate their time tracking, which was able to eliminate errors because that's a lot of people don't realize that one small miscalculation in payroll it throws off a lot, and then you're messing with someone's livelihood. So we don't want that. But one of my personal clients and which I'm super excited about is so I have excuse me, Northside AC. They are based out of Louisville, and they are a awesome HVAC company. Jerry is the owner. He is a great guy. He knew his businesses was growing. And so he said, hey, my office manager, HR woman, Mary, I need your help with this. So what they were going through is they were being overcharged for things they weren't even using. And and not getting the customer service that they were paying for. So that's a huge struggle, when you're paying for something that you really can't fully utilize, and then you lose that trust.
Right.
To want to continue to grow, and they're growing, they're hiring, and they just got a brand new location. So of course, the struggles with any type of growth is we want to make sure that payroll is correct. We want to make sure that our quarterly tax returns are filed on time and we get them back in a timely manner. We're going to take care of that. But also, if I have a question and I need some help and I want to go ahead and automate that onboarding process for those new hires, that's a lot of paperwork that no one wants to do.
Absolutely.
So we were able to go and take that and make everything automated, make obviously Mary's life so much easier, and then help them to basically focus on what matters: growing that organization, growing that company, adding, more people to service more people of Lewisville and the North Texas area. So that's what we were able to do.
That's great stories. And I will tell you, just brought to my mind the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by C.S. Lewis, by John Maxwell, that says, the law of expansion is one whole chapter dedicated to these businesses, when to go, when to slow, when to, not overextend yourself. But I'm telling you, to me, it just seems like you would be picking up a lot of these businesses right when they're starting to get to that next level, right, where they're having to add this or they can't keep up with regulations. So, yeah, kudos. Yeah. Absolutely. So would you say that's kind of your typical size client that you generally work with as you catch them kind of going up the hill a little bit? They're starting to grow and they're starting to get complicated, right?
Absolutely. So our typical range, and I say this, I like to work with organizations of all sizes. And that's just because that is where my passion comes from. I love helping people. Now, at the end of the day, if I'm the first person to tell you, again, we want to make sure we're a great fit on all ends for you. If I think that, hey, something might be a little bit better for now until you get to a certain size, I'm going to let you know that. But at the same time, that builds the relationship and that builds the trust. So when you do hit that growth period, that's when I say, hey, now let me go ahead and take over and let's make this even a better experience for you. So typically we like to go after companies within from 50 to 500. Yeah. Now, I love working with companies of all sizes. So if you have 25 employees, and that's typically where I start to see the growth, is that 20 to 50 range.
Yep.
That's when I'm like, that is really when you want to go ahead and get a system locked down to where the rest of that growth is going to be seamless. It's going to be easy, and you're going to save some time and really get to focus on hiring the right people that are the right fit for your company.
Yeah. And that makes total sense, because to me, that sounds like that's really where y'all's niche is, right? You realize there's small companies starting, but they've got to get to a level where they just can't manage stuff anymore. I mean, exactly. It's fairly obvious when you walk into those businesses. I can imagine you're going, I see what the problem is here. So, okay, cool. Yes. All right. So how do you ensure a smooth onboarding process? You've used the word onboarding now several times. I know what it means. I know you know what it means, but how do you take them through that process with new clients? What's involved with that?
Absolutely. So once you come to me and we get to figure out what your challenges are, where we can make, your life easier and how we can do that. And we said, hey, we want to go ahead and go with Netchex. The next step is we get to obviously sign the paperwork, making sure that all the documentation, we get you all the pricing, all that fun stuff. But we go through and you're going to go ahead and get dedicated a special, a dedicated implementation specialist. And what they're going to do is they're going to help get all the data put over into Netchex. We're going to get you all signed up, and not just signed up for, paperwork, but signed up within the system. We're going to make sure that we're going to go over everything with you in a kickoff call and say, you signed up for payroll, time and attendance, and HR. Awesome. Let's go ahead and we're going to schedule out your trainings. They are actually Zoom trainings, just like how we're talking over here over a video call. And we're going to walk you through the system. We're going to make sure that the system is set up the way you want it set up, not the Netchex way, the way you want to set
I
it
like
up,
that. Yeah.
which is always awesome. Throughout that process, you are going to be going through those trainings. You're going to learn the system. One thing I hear that, customers and clients hated is that the implementation process was stressful. It was muggy. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't know what the next step was. And they also weren't really sure as to far as like what the other company was doing because there was no communication. With us, you have that visibility of what we're working on, and also we're knowing what you're working on as well. So that way everyone is on the same page.
Sure.
No one's left behind. You also will have an account manager who is dedicated to you as well. So once I get to say, hey, I'm so glad I could help you, here's an account manager who's going to help you from now on for as long as you are with us. And the unique thing about that is they're going to work with you and say if you only signed up for payroll and time attendance because, HR is pretty small. You don't really need to worry about that. But then you come to realize, okay, I need to start automating some of these HR processes. My tasks are getting too long. That account manager will come in and say, hey, guess what? Let me go ahead and help you. Let's get you signed up. Let's get you trained. We never want to just give you the keys and expect you to know how to drive.
Yeah.
Like, hello, we all took, the driving school to get our license. We had to learn how to operate a vehicle. We took the tests.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to test you, but we are going to make sure that you know the system 100% before we letting you go. And something else that's very unique that we like to do is we will shadow 2 of your payroll processes, meaning we're going to shadow your first payroll process, make sure deductions are the way they need to be. Direct deposits are going in the right way. All the information is matching. And then if there's any bugs that might need to get, figured out or fixed, we will take care of that. We will make sure it's good to go. And by that second payroll process, or that payroll batch, I should say, you're good. Yeah. We should have everything figured out. And at that point, you get to say, hey, welcome to Netchex.
Yeah. And I love that because it would seem like to me that the biggest bugaboo, and I think I'm correct in saying this, you'll have to help me with the answer, is that it depends on what the company's dedicated to. Like you guys are dedicated to the personal, really upfront customer service. That seems like I'm hearing that's the most important thing for y'all. Those other things come along with the package, right? But we want to be there with the team. We want to be there at the training. We want to be there at the education, which kind of leads us into this, and that is that customer support you just mentioned. How does customer support work for you guys? Is it generally they call a team member or somebody direct? Do they call you direct? How generally does the support work for business that's contracted you guys?
So I'm gonna answer this question with the question.
All right.
Purdy, have you ever called a customer service line and spoken to someone that was not based in the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I hate it. And I hate it. I hate it.
Yep. And on a scale of 1 to 10, and you already said you hated it, so I'm pretty sure
it's a 10. Forget it. I'm done.
It's frustrating.
Can't understand what they're saying. No offense. It's just, it's not our language and it's hard for me to understand. A lot of times they don't know what questions to ask you, meaning you tell them something and they go, could you repeat that? What does that mean? I'm going, I just said it. Okay. So yes.
Well, see, all of our customer service is based in the U.S. So
bingo. That's the point right there.
Yes. So, and the unique thing about that is not only are they based in the U.S., so you're going to get to speak to someone in real time.
Even better.
Also, that's even better. But at the same time, they're fully versed in the entire system.
No guesswork. No. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And a lot of the times, and this is something I've heard, they call customer service for somebody else. They wait on hold for 2 hours.
Or 3.
Or 3 or 4, or can you press
or give us a callback number?
Exactly.
We'll
press 1 and we'll give you a call back. Well, for us, we have multiple options. So obviously, like I said, there is the customer support line that will send you right into our customer support team, and they can help you with the typical day-to-day, or maybe you just, maybe you're just having some trouble. You need some recap. Now, if you're like me, who I only call customer service when I really can't figure it out and I've tried for myself. That's great. That's one option. We also have some self-service videos that you can walk through. If you're more of a hands-on, I want to walk myself through the process, I want to learn how to do it again, we can do that too. But also on that level, that's what your account manager is for. Say you're utilizing one of our modules and you're coming to a point and you can't remember. You get to call them and say, hey, account manager, I'm having trouble utilizing the system. Can we hop on a quick call? Absolutely. They can get on a Zoom call with you. They can actually bring a solutions consultant who is also very well versed within the technology. And we will take you through a process right then and there and walk you through it. Because again, our goal is not only once you're implemented fully, we want to make sure that you're fully, if you have those questions, we can walk you through that. So that way you're not just struggling and you're waiting 2 days late to process payroll and your employees are banging on your door saying, where's my money? I need my money.
Yeah. And to me, this has been the biggest, first of all, eye-opening that it's United States based, right? You're going to get somebody that knows the system. It's going to be in the U.S. It speaks your language, speaks in terms and understands your questions. But better than that, where this customer service thing's been dropped in high tech. I encourage people to try to call Facebook or Google if you have a problem with one of your products and see what happens. So my point is, to me, customer service is so important in today's world, more so than ever. Because people want information and they want it at their fingertips, and they don't want to have to waste time and hours sitting on a phone waiting for an answer. Wow, cool.
Or go and search and try to find an answer.
You can. Yeah, it's there, but you have to dig a long time. Yeah.
You really do. But what I'm basically, what I was getting at is we just want that hands-on approach.
Yeah.
And like I said, I know I mentioned it earlier, we are small enough to give you that one-on-one attention and care and customer support, but we're big enough to have the best cutting-edge technology that we can offer.
Well,
so
that's fantastic. Yeah, I just want to throw that part in there because as a consumer, one of the things that we hate the most is when we're trying to get support for something that we're paying for and you can't get it. It's frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating.
So, wow, we're almost to the end. So
this has gone by so fast. I'm having so much fun.
Well, it is fun. And we just want to keep it in conversation. But, obviously with AI, and obviously there's things being added all the time that are necessary for business, right? And I don't even understand how to ask this except to say, what new features can users expect in the future? What's coming down the road that we're not aware of, or you think is going to really be a big help?
Absolutely. So obviously AI analytics, it's always coming. Like I mentioned earlier when we were talking, we have Ask HR that I love utilizing. Herdy, did I tell you about Ask HR when we went live?
No,
Well, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to do it now.
Okay, great.
Since we're talking about AI, Ask HR is something that we have at Netchex that, as an HR team lead, admin, whatever, I'm sure you get asked redundant questions on a day-to-day basis, if not weekly basis. So what you do is you will upload your employee handbook, your policies, even some of your, your benefit plans, things of that information that have all that information in there. And your employees can use the Netchex mobile app or log onto their computer, whichever is easier. 9 times out of 10, we all have our phones next to us. If you don't, you're lying. Don't lie to me. But you can go and message in the chat your question. So Herdy, I'm guilty of this. When I was green in corporate America, that's what I did. I had these questions and I would knock on the door. But here you can just send a question and say, hey, how many, what's our PTO policy? Or how many paid holidays do we have? Or do we get? And you get an answer right then and there without having to call, send an email, wait for a reply, stress about it the next day because you didn't hear back from HR just yet. You get those questions answered. But that's on an employee side. But on an admin side or an HR side of things, say there's some tough questions that need a little bit more digging that a policy can't answer. That is when they will be notified to reach out to that employee to answer those questions. But those answers will get put back into the system to say if other employee had a similar question, that answer's there. So it's a revolving door. Those answers come in questions get answered, and it saves time. And our time is valuable, Herdy. On a day-to-day basis, we don't have enough time to do anything anymore.
You're right.
When it comes to something that can be handled within seconds versus waiting on someone to get back to them after lunch, after meetings, it just makes the world go round, and it makes life easier on an employee standpoint and an employer standpoint.
And I would imagine that once all this information is uploaded to the system and AI kind of, if people come on the portal and they start asking questions, it's able to disseminate certain parts of all that information and drill it back to them in a frequently asked question, or pulls up the information because it's got it all gathered. That is just, instead of having to look through a book, right? I mean, and look for the answer. That's awesome.
Or with some, try to go into your employee self-service portal and then
yeah, good luck.
Find said policies. You're like, wait, what?
What? Gotcha. All right. Today we've been talking to Britnie from Netchex, and this is amazing because I've already seen the evolution of how the payroll HR is going. Right. So you've been a great guest. Anything that first of all, let me put this up here because I want people, if you need help with payroll, HR, or any part of that, what they offer, reach out to her email. She'll get right back with you. She's a go-getter, and she also knows her stuff. So go hit her email. This will show up on here. I'll make sure that this email's in the description box, okay, on the archive, so people can immediately see your email and part of the description along with the question, so they can reach out to you. So what did we miss? Anything you want to follow up with?
So I do, because this is where, and it kind of goes back to one of the questions that we had, and it was, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see or opportunities in HR today? And a lot of the time is, especially just where we're at right now, we all know the economy has not been the best the past couple of years. We're all hoping that the economy is going to change. But with that being said, I don't know about y'all, but a lot of people were job hopping. Stayed at a company for 1 year, went to another company, got more, whatever the case may be. So those turnover rates have been significantly higher. So something that I want to point out that Netchex tries to focus, and that's where we do focus on, is getting that employee retention and that employee engagement. I cannot stress to business owners enough of all sizes. I'm not saying y'all don't respect your employees, because I know there's some great business owners that do. They do anything for their employees. But for those who are like, an employee is an employee, I urge you to truly take an inner look at y'all's culture. And I'm not saying pizza parties and things like that. Really listen to your employees and what's going to make that difference and make their life easier. What's going to make them want to come into work other than obviously getting a paycheck and loving what they do? Because I love what I do, but I also know there's sometimes I don't want to go to work in the morning. But, but either way, it's, keeping up with those regulations, that workforce, those workforce expectations, but just listening to your employees. So and one thing that we like to do at Netchex is we have our employee engagement portal. And what that is where everyone can post in this community per se and say, hey, it's Herdy's birthday. Happy birthday, Herdy. And everyone gets to know it's Herdy's birthday. Or say, Herdy, you have been kicking butt and knocking all of these things out. You've taken on, again, you're fully booked right now. That's awesome. Congratulations on being fully booked. Way to go. It's just getting those kind words, that encouragement. Yeah. It just makes people happy.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It was. It's a huge deal. So that's where we're really trying to put a focus on, is the happier an employee is at an organization, the longer they're going to want to stay. And if they have that updated and, updated technology and easy to use technology, that has a lot to do with it too. Sure. I can't tell you how many systems I've used that I'm like, there's got to be something different. And when I voice it to management or leadership and I get shut down, you're like, so this is working for y'all? Because it's not working for me.
Yeah.
And we're the ones having to go through the weeds of it every day. But needless to say, but today we need better employee engagement. And we need to improve the experience for them to stay longer. And also it helps you be to stay in a more competitive space and get the right people, the right talent,
Yeah.
and the right fit for your organization. I cannot stress how huge that is enough, like how enough that is.
Yeah. Yeah. We live in a highly demand market right now for skilled people
Yes.
to work for companies and to be appreciated for their skills too. It's a two-way street. That's awesome.
Absolutely. But either way, I mean, I know I mentioned it earlier, Netchex, we don't like to be a jack of all trades because we want to focus on delivering a solution that will make a difference in our clients and our, our customers' lives. And that's our goal, and that's how we like to do it. So even if it's, and then my thing is this, my sales hat is off, my consultant hat is on. I just like to have conversations with people. If now's not a good time to make a change, completely understand. I am not here to make you change your payroll or HR provider. I am here to have a conversation, to listen, to offer up my expertise on what is going on, what you're going through. And if there's a way to make your life easier, wouldn't you want to explore those opportunities? So,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So as you can see, again, my email's down there. Please reach out. I'd love to just give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your day. I would just love to talk to you, see what's going on in your organization, see how, if Netchex can help, great. If not, and maybe now's not a good time, totally get it. But at least you can say that you explored your opportunities, and, you can sleep easier at night knowing that you've got everything and all the systems working for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Britnie. What a great conversation. I've been waiting for this one because I was curious about Netchex and the HR side and some of the new AI stuff they're incorporating and how they're getting everything where employees and people that own the business can really have a solidified option or process, right? Which is getting more complicated every day. And I tell people all the time, if you've never been a business owner, you will never understand. Even as me being my own person, you will never understand the amount of work it takes to be a business owner that has nothing to do with your products or services. It's amazing. So reach out to her if you're in the 50 up or growing towards that, and make sure you get a hold of her. So Britnie, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Herdy. I had a blast. This is awesome.
Well, that's good. And we want to thank, again, our sponsor, libertytaxdefenders.com. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Wade, for the sponsorship. We'll be back next Thursday. Next week, we talk about modern photo booths, which is really cool how these things can go around town and do funky pictures. I posted one yesterday with a pink hat on and some glasses and doing some fun stuff just for grins, to push it out there. So we'll be back next Thursday, 2:00. This is the Mansfield Buzz. We'll see you guys next Thursday at 2 p.m. and have a great rest of the week. Happy Valentine's to everybody out there tomorrow. Be safe, have fun, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.